Boo! Did I scare you? Yeah, I probably didn't. So, horror. I have been deep into horror for a bit, and I just have to say at the top of the video, I just can't take horror. It's just not good for me. But it beckons me like a curse. I just can't. I just can't resist. It's beckon. It's just not a thing that I can do. I'm just not capable of that. And I have been reading, listening, audiobook formatted horror stories from across the web. Your ye olden creepypastas, your short horror stories, your no sleep stories, your everything. And I have found it fun. Again, these are not the only media that I consume regarding this topic. I do consume shows, not really much, but every so often, one or two, if they're short enough shows. And I do not watch movies. Like the movies, I stay a mile away from them, and not for me. And a few of the more gory movies, I just don't like them because it's not scary. It just kind of makes me sick a bit. Not really. It's not what I like, not my taste. But one of the stories that I really liked was, SCP stories. Like, it's so much fun just reading about, well, listening to different people attempting to use this mundane format. Because if you don't know what the format of SCP is, it's like a paper, a scientific paper. It's like that, but it's talking about abominations beyond your belief. Most of them don't have images, but the ones that do, oh my god, there's something else. And the ones that don't tend to have incredible skills at depicting things. Like one of the things that I read, listened, did was something along the lines of the insanity that exists. It's because of all of our mistakes. Yeah, it's that something along those lines. I don't remember the name. Yeah, damn it, I will look it up. And besides the point, it's this story about how a town where everything's happy, it's always sunny, is getting haunted, and people completely ignore the bonkers shit that's happening all around them. They're like, ah, there's sounds under the floor. Yeah, who cares? Ah, my reflection has no face. Yeah, who cares? Then eventually, when shit gets real, when nine hanging women just gonna float in the sky, then shit hits the fan, and then the SCB Foundation comes in, and they're secure and contain and protect. This is like hiding secrets bring makes this beast stronger, and it's just that it's so much fun. And another one that I absolutely enjoyed was you don't recognize the bodies in the water, and it's so good. Like it's what it says on the tin. It's just bodies in the water that you shouldn't recognize because they're from the 1970s. But if you come close to them, look at them, they beckon you. They're like, yeah, you know us. We were your best friends. We hanged out together. You and me. We're besties. Even if the person didn't know them or wasn't even born, their memories get altered, and it's so scary. And honestly, I would love to incorporate this into some sort of story, but that's besides the point. I really like this idea so much. And another one of the stories that I really liked was, a story on Reddit. It was basically a stalking story. Like a creepy stalker gets tipped off where the kid lives because, well, they were doing some shenanigans, sending letters to strangers. And as they say, you fuck around and you find out. And hey, they found out. It was, you have to read, you just have to read it to know. And then I watched Sonic EXE, and it was cringe. Like it was just fine. I personally didn't like it, but no shade to anyone wrote it because hey, you at least tried. But I really liked the another one, Abandoned by Disney. Yeah, that's the title, and it's so much fun. Well, at least the setup part was fun. The payoff, didn't really like it. And another one that absolutely loved was a very old Goatman story, which was incredibly well written. Man, it was good. So if you don't know what a Goatman is, it's a person who isn't human. It's a goat and tries to mimic humans. Like he can look like your friends, but every time he looks like your friend, he looks a bit off. Like in the story that I read, he had a slack jaw. His jaw was like when he transformed into a person, his jaw would just get bleh and just say peace. But that was so much fun. I actually really liked the story so much. I just can't remember the name. It was so much fun. Man, I really like these type of stories. Like Supernatural is kind of whatever. You kind of can go get over it, but to me, it really hits home because I was raised very superstitious, which leads me to get easily frightened by these type of stories. Well, not really frightened. I when I'm listening them, I get frightened. I can, yeah, of course, but afterwards it's fine. But what really gets me, so these type of stories, since I try my best not to be superstitious. It's damn hard if you're raised like that. It's incredibly hard, especially where I live. Like at day it's the most beautiful place in the world, but at night it's like, man, there's gonna be some sort of demon gobbling your ass up if you just slip. Like it's it has a very haunted look because this area is incredibly old, like one of the first areas that was made here. Since the houses that were made here aren't that quality houses, they tend to just only last about 50 or 60 years. And since this has been here for a while, the houses look a bit abandoned, as if they're haunted. But it just really doesn't feel good, this, man, the ambience here is just, when you look around at night, it's like, man, there's gonna be a ghost behind your ass and it's gonna eat you up. It's kind of it's one of a kind. But the type of horror that really gets to me is one that can really happen. Of course, I don't personally have any sort of experience, being stalked or some shit like that. None of that. But the stories that I read and hear, mostly hear, of people doing, stalking and getting stalked, even if they're fictional, they kind of get under your skin. You're like, to me, one of the first things that I imagine is, what if I was in this spooky, scary situation? What the hell would I do? And almost always my answer is, yeah, I'm gonna piss my pants like instantly. Like either I'm gonna get me a Glock or I'm gonna piss my pants. There's nothing in between. Like, especially the more supernatural, you can't really do much. It's kind of screwed. And another format that I really like is comic book horror, which isn't as scary since they tend to be supernatural, or most of the stories that I read don't really get that real. Which, if it does, it really does affect you. Like a few of the stories that I've really not read, I've just kind of listened to, are not good. Like Pet Cop, like, not that they are bad written, they just get way too real, personally. And I don't say that it's bad. It's fine. You can do whatever, but man, it gets me. Like, it really does get me. Like Pet Cop, and another one, the indie horror, is just something else. It's different horse. I just can't remember the other one's name. It's a story about a person who got abused throughout their life, and how they deal with that abuse and how they actually murder somebody. I just don't remember the name. It's a really good story, but I don't remember it. It's weird. Like, most of the good stories that I know, I just can't remember the name of them because I just don't. So another one that I absolutely loved was one that was produced here, which was an actual show. Like, it wasn't long. It was 2 3 episodes, 50-minute long episodes that were incredibly well made. Honestly, I if I remember the name, I will link it down below. But you can't really trust my memory. It's just not that good. But I really like the story. I can just explain it to you in a, I guess, best way I can. No match to what the actual story is, because it's actually a show. It's a drama. It's great. But my reenactment is that two folks, do opportunistic folks are, researching. They're supposed to be a bunch of bad, you know journalists. They want to slander the school system, and they want to expose the corruption that's everywhere. That's what they want to do. And they go inside and they can hear loudly, school children, reading, doing their tables, doing whatever young children do, because they're second graders, and that's what they're hearing. And they come in and they're like, ah, where the hell did everyone else go? Because there wasn't nobody else in the school but one teacher and all them kids and a weird creepy dude that left as they entered. It was like, God, oh my God, save me, God bless this, oh my God, it's so good, oh my God. And that's what he's saying as he leaves, like, paraphrasing as you do. So the main characters go in and they're like, where's the corruption? This is all corrupt. Where's our money? Where's everyone else? Where them classes? What's going on? And they don't get a straight answer. They're like the teacher's like, you're disturbing the kids. Get your greasy ass out of here. And the journalist asks the children, and they're like, 1 times 1, 1. 2 times 2, 4. 1 times 3, 3. And that's what they're doing. Just not responding and just repeating the tables. And then they leave because, well, they didn't find anything. No answer was given to them. But then they sneak in at night because, of course, survival instinct. Ain't nobody got that. So they sneak in and they're like, he's doing something. He's like, the teacher is, begging the kids, covering their faces, covering their mouths, covering their eyes, tying them up, leaving them in a room and locking the room. Like, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Maybe them kids were made of gold, and he had something to do. God knows what the hell was happening at that point. And they see the teacher doing this, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing? You bastard! What the hell?" They knock him out and just keep him in a room. And they're like, "We're gonna free them kids, we're gonna free them." And the teacher's like, no, you bastard, you're gonna mess everything up. Don't, them kids are, them, oh my God, you did it. We're all dead. And the man just shoots himself. Like, as soon as he gets caught by the kids, which have turned feral, like they're just animals and like all fours, running on all fours and after their ass. And it's shot in, first person because, well, it's a news report. They get caught because, of course, they did. Like, not the kids, the journalists, they got their ass caught. And then, the kids didn't kill him. No. The teacher, he had the right idea that he shoot himself because he knew what the kids did. The kids didn't do good things. No. They dug a grave and then presumably buried them alive. And that's the end. And it's like, when I was watching it, it was really good because, well, it's not like me just talking. It's actual people, actually doing it. And I retold it in a more funnier way because, well, I don't think I don't really want to get demonetized by YouTube because, the aforementioned word. But yeah, that got me really interested in horror, and I really got deep into local horror. The shows. The show that I'm talking about was in a series which was just about horror shows. Awesome. I genuinely liked most of them. Another one that I remember is pretty good, and it's like two couple come in the main door, and they're like, "This is gonna be our resident for a bit," and they find a dudette being like, "Ooh, it's backwards day. No trust in anyone, okay?" And the person who she grabbed was like, Get your greasy ass hands out of me, beggar. Get yourself gone, disappear, shoot." And it's like, "Don't forget my words." And they go in and everything is backwards. The time goes backwards. The they have an hourglass. It goes backward. Oh my God, it's so weird. And then they find a guy on the second floor. He's like, he's chanting. He's speaking. He's doing them them satanic speeches, and the lady with them who's supposed to be her, our satanic dude's, wife is like, don't trust him. He's spooky. He will guide you to death. And it's like that, but eventually they find out that this guy, he's telling them that this bitch, she did this curse. She's the thing that got me here, got me stuck here, and you gotta kill her. You gotta off. And they try to do that. The guy just kind of flops like a dead fish, as you do. They were a couple. The guy just kind of gets stabbed and KOs himself. And then the lady, it's a lady on lady fight, and they both die, which makes a time loop, which ends the story with not really incredibly confused, me being like, this was fine. Another one which I honestly did like a bit more, which was, a person alone getting into a motel, and in the motel it's all puppets. It's puppet themed, and then they're serving meat when the man goes to his room. Remember, all of these stories that I've said are what I remember by memory, so don't trust them. It could be better. So he goes up, and well, he starts to eat his food, and a cooking show comes up, and he's like, this must be yummy. And then the cooking show talks about, cannibalism, and the man is like, God damn it, I'm dead. They're gonna eat us. And then he finds a girl who tries to help him. He's like, yeah, if you do this, you can get lost, get. And he almost get lost, but at the end he gets his ass caught, and then that's just GG's, game over. And it turns out that the lady, she wasn't his friend. No. She was a puppet master. The head honcho among the cannibal puppets, which was, a weird statement, but I never thought I would say this. So, in summary, recently really got into horror, and I was just spending most of my free time just listening and watching horror, and honestly, I really liked it, especially the indie horror, especially the no sleep stories and the SCP story. I really like the bodies in the water one. It's so good. But yeah, it's I have to say this once before you jump out of skin. The first story that I mentioned, the thing that this thing that Madness made, it's something along those lines, has an embedded sound clip that supposedly says hello in your right ear, and it's a kid, and it probably will freak you out because it's all jumbled up. It's gonna be on random, and your goofy ass, it ain't gonna to be able to take that. I tell you, it's just gonna be GG's. I tell you, as soon as that voice comes up, you're out of your skin. That's dead. Man, I should stop doing the accent that I'm doing. It's not intentional, I tell you. It's just coming out like that. Man, I just can't stop it. Okay, it's just my cheap imitation of a southern accent. It's best I can do. But yeah, I really liked it. Honestly, most of these stories that I've said, as I've said before, I really like them because, well, who doesn't like getting this themselves ripped out of their skin? Who doesn't like to be scared? Like, I don't know about you, but to me, it's nectar of the gods. It just drags me back. Whenever I'm at the gates of hell, it just drags me back. I'm like, let me out of this torment. I can't take it. Let me out. And then the horror stories are like, no, we need to fondle your brain. Let us fondle your brain. And then they proceed to liquefy my brain. This is such a sad existence. But honestly, I really, really like the stories that I've talked about because it's just the kind of horror that gets me most. Like, occasionally supernatural, it's fine. It's whatever. You can't really go wrong. But supernatural, you're like, it's supernatural. It probably ain't gonna happen to me. But the stalker stories, and not really killer stories. Killer stories are fine. I guess murder stories are fine. They're not really that scary. But most of the stalking related shit and the actual detail that they give, it's not like they are they're fine stories. Actually, some of them are really good. As I said, CP stories, and this thing that Madness made, and the other one, Bodies in the Water, and the starting couple of stories that I told about. They're really good. I really, really enjoyed listening to them, and I would recommend you to listen to them. My shitty impersonation can't do shit. It just can't. Like, as I said, I kind of humorified most of the the shit that you're supposed to watch and not be scared, but it's not really not really humorous, except the Mickey Mouse one. Man, it fumbles in the end. Like, it's an incredible fumble. Like, the main monster of the story is Mickey Mouse, because of course. And it turns out that Mickey Mouse speaks in Mickey Mouse ways, which just takes all comedy out, all the horror out. Like, comedy and horror to me are both in the same boat. They're the same thing essentially. Like, comedy, it's doing something unexpected that's just weird, but horror is something that does weird things, and you just have a visceral feeling that this thing is dangerous. Like, a couple of these stories that I talked about, that I've essentially spoiled, they get really creative with their monsters. Like, one of them story has a guy under the bed who turns turns the jukebox by hand, and it actually just it's scary. It sounds much less scary as it should, but it's really scary. I honestly also like cosmic horror and that type of shit. That also tickles me in the right way. It just feels good. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, just watching horror stories. And not to say that I was watching horror stories for a month, which I was, but it is to say that I was, in the middle of my exams, and that was the only entertainment I found. I couldn't make these videos because these videos don't look like they take a lot of time, but if you make them daily, they don't they do take a lot of time. And honestly, my skill level, that's probably the most of the bottleneck is my skill. So yeah, I I it was supposed to be a different story, me ranking, giving you the top six animated shows in my opinion, but it just turned into horror. Like, my brain turns on a dime, I tell you. So yeah, I really, really liked my past month, watching horror mostly. I really liked, just what I did. And I hope you also check out the stories that I've mentioned. And I think I probably will not link most of them because, yeah, that's how I rock and roll. The Goatman story, man, it's cream of the crop, I tell you. But yeah, I think I've rambled long enough. That's about it from me. Bye.